Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the session of BC&R, and today we will be starting chapter number 3, vocabulary. I hope you are doing well and you made the most out of this Sunday session. You went back and you practiced. Maybe you would just flip through your study material. Whatever you have done, I hope the concepts were clear to you because Sunday session was very important. If there is any problem, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll just start with chapter 3 straight away. There was this one student, Balakrishnan, who had some questions regarding subject-verb agreement exercises. I don't exactly remember which sentences you had asked me, but the answers are correct. There is no problem with the question and answer. Okay. If you are there, just tell me again, ask me that, ma'am, this is a sentence where I had issues. I'll just sort it out now. The other day I forgot actually. So after the class, I realized that I forgot to answer your query. So if you're here, just give me specific sentences that you were asking for. But all I remember is that I checked and everything was fine. The questions were correct and the answers were correct. Any problem that you have in chapter 2? Otherwise, we'll start with chapter number 3. Are you ready with your study material? Because we will be referring to your study material again a lot. I will not be teaching anything outside your study material. It has to be everything from here. And there's a lot of theory in this, so we will be doing a lot of, we will be actually discussing a lot of things in itself. I'll wait for 1 minute. In case you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, we'll just... Pragati, can you tell me a specific page number? The active passive one? What is it that you want me to know? Or tell you, Pragati? You just have to change the sentences into active voice. That's it. And they're pretty easy sentences. Delisha, I've read your query. I will get it done today. Pragati, ask me anything specific that you want me to explain it to you. But what I know is that question number 5 is about changing the sentences from passive to active. Simple. If there is any specific sentence that you do not understand, ask me that. Right. Pragati, I told you that whenever we have modals, we add B, right? The new software can be mastered easily in a couple of days, right? Now, here, of course, I understand the people word is not mentioned here. So at times what happens is when we are changing from active to passive, we omit few words, okay? But of course, in active, we need that subject, we need to know about whom we are talking, right? So mostly you can add the generic words. Like, in this case, we have added people here. People can easily master the new software in a couple of days. All right. I hope it's clear to you. Delisha, I have read your concern. You'll get it today, for sure. I just had to make few changes in it. This is why it was not. All right, Pragati, I hope I've answered your query. All right, now let's. Delisha, the house will be cleaned every Saturday. The house will be cleaned every Saturday. Yeah. By me. I will clean the house every Saturday. The house will be cleaned every Saturday by me. Okay, great. Now let's start with vocabulary. As important is grammar is for any language, vocabulary is, I think, even more, because if you do not have the knowledge of vocabulary, where would you apply the grammar, right? If you do not know the words, if you do not know how to use the words, then what will the grammar do? The rules can bind vocabulary together. This is why we need to know the rules. But before that, we need to know about the words altogether, right? So when I say vocabulary, the word, or the knowledge of words, the knowledge of body of words is very broad. Ever since we start listening the words, we start building our knowledge of vocabulary. Am I clear? As soon as we just begin, as soon as the child starts to listen to the people around him or her, we start developing vocabulary because we start absorbing the words. Okay. Now let's understand about what else do we call vocabulary. Now vocabulary is also called a word stock. It is also called lexicon, or it is also called lexis, whatever you call it. Now, vocabulary consists of the word we understand, what we hear or read, or words as we speak. Now, vocabulary consists of the words that we hear. Okay, there are words as we hear. There are words that we write. There are words that we read, right? And whatever we read, whatever we hear, and whatever we speak, we absorb things. We absorb words. At times, you try it out. At times, you use such a word that you're not very you're not very comfortable, and you don't use it in everyday language, but at times, based on the situation, you automatically use some vocabulary, and later you realize that maybe you have read this word somewhere and it was just absorbed by your mind, right? You did not consciously use the word, but it just fit in the situation and you use the word, right? So this is how it works. And now, having knowledge about word is not enough. You need to know about the meaning also. If we do not know the meaning of the word, then we cannot use the word, right? If we do not know, okay, I might know 100 words, but I might not know the meanings of all the words, right? In that case, okay, so I know 100 words and I know the meanings of about 50 words. Okay, confidently, I know the 50 meanings of 50 words. Trust me on this, I can only use those 50 words whose meaning I know. I cannot use the words whose meaning I don't even know. I can read them, but I don't know what it means. So if I do not know what it means, I cannot use it. Now just look at this vocab PPT once. The use of vocabulary is a fundamental tool of communication. Yes. Why? Would you understand when I say that vocabulary or the vocabulary knowledge is a fundamental tool of communication? Why would I say that? What does it mean? Is there anyone who can explain that to me? Is there anyone who can explain to me what it means? Anyone who's typing the answer. Why vocabulary is a fundamental tool of communication? Why do you say that? Okay. Okay. Yes, so there are two things. One, if we do not have the knowledge of vocabularies, we won't be able to talk, right? We won't be able to communicate. Second is, we will not even understand what the other person is saying. We will not understand what is happening around us if we do not have a good base of vocabulary in any particular language, I would say. It's not necessarily only for English, it is for any language. I always say that. Even if you're doing Hindi, right? There's so many typical words that you have in Hindi. If you do not have a vocabulary base in Hindi, you will not understand those words. I mean, there's so many technical words used for work or, for, profession based. We have different vocabulary in Hindi also. And that is so technical and that is so difficult to understand if you do not have the base. All right, most of you got it right. Now let's understand why vocabulary is important. Why do we need to know about vocabulary? Now, vocabulary is something that, of course, we are taught in schools. Of course, we develop over the time. It's not a one-day process. It is not some years process. Learning a vocabulary is a lifelong process because you evolve. Every day you learn a new word. Right? Every day you hear something new. It is not possible for any human to know each and every word mentioned in the dictionary or every word that exists. Okay, it is not possible. So as we read and as we hear and as we practice while speaking and writing, we develop our vocabulary, right? So, of course, you absorb the words while you are reading and while you're listening, right? But you can practice them and you can practice them and you can use them while speaking and writing, right? That is how you express yourself. But while listening and while reading, you basically absorb, right? Okay, that you've heard a new word, you look for it, you look for the meaning, and then you basically memorize the word and then you learn to use it based on the situation. Clear? Now, having said that, why vocabulary is important? Vocabulary is important because this is a very broader terms, but these days it is also for your professional success, right? Since English is part of our lives, English is part of our professional lives, right? We need to have a good base of vocabulary because that is something that will help us communicate effectively. The first thing comes is comprehension. Comprehension is, when I say comprehension, that means understand. By understanding, I mean when we are reading something, right? If I do not understand each and every word mentioned in that writing, I will not get the complete meaning, right? Uh, Probably I'm reading a statement and there is this one word that I don't know the meaning of. And I will not get the correct meaning of the entire sentence, what this entire sentence is trying to say. So whatever I read, while listening, of course, if somebody is speaking and somebody is telling me something, and if I do not miss a few words in in his conversation, whatever the person was telling me, how will I get the entire crux of what he was saying? Right? In that sense, again, I will lose it. I will not get the entire meaning. I will not understand completely. Comprehension is, of course, affected if your vocabulary is not strong. You can still do away with a less knowledge of grammar, but you cannot do away with the less knowledge of, vocabulary. Right? Am I clear? Okay. Next comes articulation. Now, articulation is a very interesting word. Now, articulation is that when you want to express yourself precisely, but in a very strategically and very smart way, right? You want to articulate your thoughts. That means you want to express your thoughts in a very, in a very impressively and in a precise manner. At the same time, you want to express the complete meaning. So that is called articulation. Now, how does vocabulary help in articulation? One, you know how to use correct words about how you're feeling and what you're thinking, right? And second is you may be able to frame better sentences because again, you know the correct words to be used here, and you can express yourself in a better way. You can convey whatever you're trying to say in maybe a few words in case your word usage is great, right? Now next comes ability to grasp ideas and think more logically. Now, again, an example to this is, for example, you're reading a novel, right? And you basically reading problem solving kind of a novel. There's some problem and somebody is trying to solve, right? And you are reading. Now, you've read like 5 pages, and within 5 pages, you almost understand all the words. And even if you do not understand the words, you look for the dictionary and you look for the meaning, right? So if you can grasp the entire idea of what the author is trying to say, if you basically get the entire idea of what the author is trying to say, you can at least think more logically about it. Was it right? Is it happening right? Or there could have been any other alternative to it. So if in case you do not get the idea, if you cannot grasp the idea, then how will you interpret? How will you have your own interpretation, or how will you have your own thoughts about it? Right? So basically, vocabulary helps you to have ability to grasp the ideas and think more logically. Okay. Yes. Any problems still here? Any problems? Do you have any question? Otherwise, I'll go ahead. Sarvesh, articulation is that if you know how to use the words clearly and if you know the correct words to be used for your expression, whatever you're feeling and whatever your thoughts are about something, it makes your conversation more interesting, and you are able to express yourself in like precisely but in an effective way. Articulation means when you can actually perfectly, in a precise manner, you can express yourself in a few words, right? Strategically, I would say. Am I clear? Next comes is having a rich vocabulary helps us communicate in a more engaging way. Now, two people are having a conversation, right? And one person is very good with vocabulary and the other person is not, right? Neither he or she understands what the other person is saying and not able to communicate also pretty well, right? So the conversation will not be interesting. If two people have the vocabulary at par and if they have their language skills also good enough for each other, they can have a good conversation over hours and hours, right? And if I understand what you're saying, I can at least respond to you in a good way. But if I don't understand what you're saying, how will I give you an answer or how will I share my thoughts on what you're talking about? Then you will not have any common topic to talk, right? So vocabulary and good language skills help you to have more engaging conversations and more, interesting conversations where both the participants are equally enjoying the conversation. Next comes the impression. Obviously, if you can use correct words according to the situation, according to your profession, according to your, whatever thing you're talking about, then you create good impressions. Right? In your writing skills, for example, you're writing an article for a magazine, for some journal or something, and you use good words, and if you, vocabulary that is specific to some profession or vocabulary that makes your reading interesting, it creates impression on the reader, right? Now, in that case, we basically have three kinds of vocabulary, right? So we just discussed about why vocabulary is important. Now let's talk about three types of vocabulary which are important and how we go around it. Now, as we grow up, we hear so many words during, when we watch movies, when we read, when we are studying in school, third point, ability to grasp ideas and think more logically. Prasad, Om Prasad. This is pretty easy. It's just that if you do not know what the other person is saying and if you do not understand what you're reading, then how will you have a logical thought if you do not get the entire idea while reading or maybe while talking to somebody? How will you express or how will you think more logically in case if you do not even know what has to be done? Pala Sajna Lakshmi, I answered your query in the beginning of the class. So it's page number 3.2 that we are doing right now. Now, I was saying that, we, over the time in human life, we hear so many words, every day we read so many words, but not every word is of our use. Not every word we can use everywhere. Not every word holds any importance related to our profession, related to our conversation, right? So we start filtering them. We start, cutting down the conversations. And we start, prioritizing what kind of words we like. So first comes is the words that are important to the subjects we are studying. First, we would like to know about the vocabulary that is related to our profession. Then what we're studying. Then words that we read or hear repeated, words that we hear repeatedly are the words that we mostly use or understand. Words we know we will want to use. Now, third category comes about the words that we would want to use regularly. So we basically divide our vocabulary knowledge into these three parts and we use it accordingly. Like I said, that there are types of vocabulary. So there are some basic vocabulary, there's a high frequency vocabulary, and there's subject predicate vocabulary, and that is how we use it. Okay. Now, basic vocabulary is basically that the words that we are studying, or we know this thing. High frequency or multiple meaning vocabulary is that, no, that is subject predicate vocabulary. Now, the multiple or high frequency vocabulary is vocabulary that we use quite often or we hear it repeatedly. And basic vocabulary that we just basically use. And basically everybody developed without any efforts. You know, this few words that we just know. Okay, and we use them every day, like in every sentence that we speak. Clear? Are we clear? Yes. Then we'll start with the types of vocabulary. How to start that? Okay, now I have an exercise for you, a small exercise before I start with types of vocabulary. This is my fourth session with you. Okay, can you tell me a word that you actually heard me using again and again, or maybe a word that was new to you that I used and you learned about it. Just this is kind of a vocabulary test for you. Within 3 sessions before that, before the session, I took 3 sessions. So you have to tell me the word that I use again and again, and I use repeatedly. And you've been hearing me continuously using that. Second is if there is any new word that you heard from me and you did not know the meaning of. Quickly, that's a small exercise. Bhumika, it's very easy. The words that you use related to your subject, for example, debit credit, right? In accountancy, debit credit, balance sheet, assets, liabilities. Now, these are vocabularies that are related to your subject that you're studying. Please specific in your answers that this is the word you use too much, and the other is that this is a new word that I heard it from you for the first time. Let's see how many of you were attentive in the class. Quick, quick, quick. We can't spend so much of time on this. See, the most of the words that you guys have pointed out me using again and again is, see, that's part of my profession, right? Because I'm teaching. So I'm supposed to ask you guys, am I clear? Or any problems that you would have, or any doubt. Oh, but I have never used scarcity in physical. Okay, so everybody is picking up different words that I speak too much. So now that totally depends on what you want to pick up. Yeah, all right, perfect. Yes, am I clear? Any doubts? Great. Now, any new word that you have learned so far, or any new word that you've heard? Articulation, okay, Chandan. And Bhumika, the words that I repeat, that's very basic vocabulary. Okay, new word, any new word that you've picked up. Linguistic, okay, precisely. Okay. Any more words? Mm-hmm. Yes, parasession, very good. Is comprehend the verb form of comprehension? Yes. All right. So what I'm trying to study here is that, how we notice somebody speaking. Now, you've picked up so many words saying that, ma'am, you use these words again and again. That means you're listening. Okay. That is why your mind is absorbed that ma'am uses these words a lot. Archana, yes, you must have heard a lot of new words from me, but you don't remember it. Now, why you don't remember it is because you do not understand those words. That's how it is. When we hear the words and we do not know the meaning of those words, so we tend to forget it unless we make the note of those words and think that, okay, I will find the meaning of this word, what it means. Now, since you did not understand those words, the meanings of those words, maybe you did not even didn't understand what I exactly say. Yes, this is what I am trying to explain here, right? And then there's so many words that you guys have picked up saying that, ma'am, you use these words, right? There are a few words that you picked up from me. And that's how the vocabulary grows and how it just goes on and on and on. Yeah. Okay. Now let's understand the types of vocabulary, which is the basic. One is the listening vocabulary. Now, listening vocabulary is the largest vocabulary because we listen to so many people, so many words. When we're listening to song, when we're listening to, when we are watching movies, we listen. We listen a lot during lectures. We hear people having conversation around us. So we listen and our mind constantly absorb words. So this is basically the largest this thing. And it says that an adult can identify and comprehend almost 50,000 words. If any adult can understand and identify 50,000 words. Then comes the speaking library, the vocabulary. Vocabulary. The speaking vocabulary is the vocabulary that we speak. Okay, the words that we use in speaking. Now, if we know 50,000 words, we use only 10,000. Out of those 50,000 words that we know, we use only 10,000 of them in our conversations, while writing, while speaking. Now, is there anyone who can tell me why? If we understand and if we identify 50,000 words, why do we use such less amount of words while speaking and writing? Why do we use such small amount of words while expressing ourselves? What is the reason? What could be the reason that if we hear words every day, we hear the conversations every day, but yet we use such small amount of words in our daily communication and conversation routine? The reason I am most of your answers, and I'm very glad that you have responded to this question. The reason is comfort. Okay, the comfort in using the words. Half of the times people are not confident about the meanings of the words, or maybe you're not confident about the pronunciation of the word. So it's about the comfort in usage of the words. So most of the times we are not comfortable using those 40,000 words, and this is why, and we're not sure of the pronunciation, or we're not sure of the meaning, or maybe we're not sure of, if this word could fit into the situation. Yes, and that is also because the lack of the habit, good puja, and lack of memorizing it. Because we do not practice, we don't have the habit of using those words, and then at times we don't even remember the words. So the reasons are so many, and at the end of the day, we all end up using only 10,000 words. Yes, Shravani, that's right. We comprehend those selective words well than the remaining words. We're just so comfortable using those small amount of words that we don't want to explore. This is why it is said you must have heard your teachers telling you repeatedly that, every time you listen to a new word, look for the meaning and trying to use that word in your conversation. Like, for example, if I learn a new word articulation today, right? Now, this is the articulation, this is the meaning. Now, I make sure that for 2, 3 days, I'm going to use this word. I'm going to find an opportunity to use these words. Yeah. Did your teacher ever tell you that this? Did your English teacher ever tell you this? Ever tell you to do this exercise? My English teachers used to tell me. Yes, Shiva, half of the people are, of course, hesitant that we may say something wrong, or we may use wrong words. So, there's so many reasons. And at the end of the day, our vocabulary count becomes very clear. Then comes our reading vocabulary. Now, in reading vocabulary, we recognize the words as we read the text. Okay, so now reading vocabulary is basically the words that we recognize while we are reading. Okay. Now this is the second largest vocabulary in our list of vocabulary. And needless to say, this vocabulary only increases along with our habit of reading. Right? Now reading is the biggest and blessing for any language development team. Okay, even if you start learning French today, and you don't have any base, everybody will suggest you that read. Okay, now reading helps you to improve your language skills. It also helps you to build your vocabulary. It also helps your grammar because you learn how to use punctuation. You learn how to frame sentences correctly. Okay, so reading vocabulary is obviously second largest because again, when we are reading, we understand so many words, we can identify. Then it comes to writing. Now, writing is the word. Our writing was intensely affected by the words we can spell. Now, writing words, writing vocabulary. Now, again, we know 50,000 words approximately. We can use little more than what we speak because we are writing. At times, we are only writing for ourselves or whatever. But in writing skills, writing vocabulary, what matters is the spellings. If you're not sure of the spellings of the words, you will not use it. And then again, your use of vocabulary count comes. All right, clear? Yes. Any problems that you have so far? I am going to, Om Prasad, we will discuss how to improve the language vocabulary. Don't worry. But do you have any problems still here? No? Okay. Now, I just explained you about the listening vocabulary, speaking vocabulary, writing vocabulary, and reading vocabulary. Right? Now, listening vocabulary is also oral and receptive. Right? Because we are listening to it. It's an oral exercise because we are listening. Okay? We are not doing anything ourselves. The other thing is that it's receptive because when you are listening, you absorb a lot of words. Right? This is why it says you receive. It's a receptive exercise of vocabulary. Now, again, speaking is oral because you're speaking it, you're not writing or you're not reading it. All of this is not in written format, so it is oral. You're speaking, but when you're speaking, you are expressing yourself. So this is an expressive exercise. Now, you use vocabulary here to express yourself. In reading, again, it's written and it's receptive. It's a written way, and that's how you absorb your vocabulary, and it's receptive. Because you learn about new words and you learn about the usage of new words while reading. Writing vocabulary is, of course, written because you're writing something, it's a written format. And then in the way of writing, you are expressing yourself. So you basically, receptive is you receive, you absorb something, right? Express is you are taking it out. You are expressing yourself, right? In the form of writing, in the form of speaking. You got putting your thoughts in the form of words. Either you are speaking it or you're writing it. But while listening and while reading, you basically learn and you absorb and you keep it in your mind, right? You grasp the things for while these exercises. But in speaking and writing, you are using those words to express what you have learned through listening and reading. Am I clear? Yes. It has been noted that receptive vocabulary is normally larger than expressive vocabulary. We have already discussed this. This is obvious. What we receive, what we listen, and what we read, the kind of vocabulary that we gather from there is, of course, much more than what we use while speaking and while writing. We just discussed that people are not comfortable. Half of the times you're not sure of the spellings, then you're not sure of the meanings. And one word can have multiple meanings. So it has used in different situations. But you're not sure if I can use this word or not. To save yourself from embarrassment and to save yourself from being wrong, you end up using the words which you are more comfortable. Am I clear? Yes. Now, for example, there's a word like happy. Okay. Now, happy, you have more words for this. Instead of saying I'm happy, you can also say I'm delighted. Okay. I am excited. I am ecstatic. So there's so many words, right? But all are used in different situations. And maybe we are not, comfortable with the pronunciation. Maybe we are not comfortable with the spelling. So we don't use the words. I'll show you a table where you can use like about 23 words instead of just saying I am happy. Okay, we will discuss that when we reach there. We will be discussing the types of vocabulary one by one. Okay, now let's start with effective ways to build vocabulary. Now, how you can build the vocabulary. Building vocabulary, elated, yes. Glad, yes. Very good. Joyful, yes. No. How can you write while reading? You can only do one exercise, right? Either you can read or you can write. How can you do both the things together? Okay. Now, effective ways of build vocabulary. Now, first is be aware of words. Now, do not avoid the words that are foreign or new to you. Be aware of the words. Try to find out the meaning of the words. Do not tell yourself that, no, I don't want to learn about this new word. Just be open about it. If you hear a new word, if you read a new word, examine them closely. Look up the meaning. You should, try to use that word in your daily conversation so that you become habitual of using and you are, basically comfortable with using that word. So if you do not do these exercises, then you cannot build your build your vocabulary. When you're reading, slow down your reading. Just read to improve your understanding of vocabulary. It will speed up your learning of other words. Now, if you're just reading in rush, you will not understand half of the words. One. Second, if there is any new word, you will not even bother to look up the meaning for. Read slow. Understand what the author is trying to say. So that if there is a new word, one, you can find the meaning. Second, you can understand the meaning of the sentence correctly, what it means. Right? And that is a way you improve your language skills and your vocabulary skills. Read voracious. Okay? Read. Reading is the only way you can improve your vocabulary. There is no other way. Okay? One, you can read at your own pace. Okay? As per your understanding and as per what suits you. Pick anything. I never tell my students to restrict themselves to read novel, read newspapers, nothing. Read anything. Just read. You can pick the magazine of your choice. You can pick the newspaper of your choice. You can, the section, what interests you in a newspaper, pick that. You like entertainment section, read entertainment section. You like lifestyle section, read lifestyle section. You like sports section, read sports section. Read and choose whatever you like, but at least read. Okay, that is how it helps you to build a vocabulary. Okay, now when you are reading, you learn about the understanding of the words. You also learn about the expression of the word. You also learn about how the words can be used in a sentence. At times, maybe you know what is the meaning of a word. But if you don't know how to use it in a sentence, how to frame a sentence around it. So reading helps you with that, right? This is a suggestion to you. When you read, okay, you read a sentence, there is a new word in the sentence and you quickly look up at it. Once you know the meaning of the word, read that sentence. Now you will understand. Once you understand that sentence again, trust me, you will never forget the meaning of it. But if you do this, that okay, I will look for the meaning later on. Later on, you'll find the meaning maybe of the word, but you will again not be I'm not sure if you would know how to use that word in a sentence. Yes, Pragati, I'm sure your teachers must have told you this. So teachers used to say that, every day find five news words from the newspaper, note it down in your diary, find the meaning and try to use them in your conversations. I think that was the best exercise. Right? And these days, life is so easy. You have phones available. You can just find a meaning right away. When we were kids, we used to carry dictionaries with us. And, if there is a new word and we had to look up at the dictionary. But these days you have, and I remember in my school book set, every session we used to have this pocket dictionary part of our book sets. For the new session that used to be given to us. But of course, these days you have phones available. You can just quickly look up the meaning of the word. Do that. If you do not practice this, then I think nothing will help you. Use dictionary and thesaurus, yes. Use dictionary to find the meaning. You can use thesaurus to find the synonyms and antonyms, the words that are similar in meaning to the words. So if I write happy, I can get like 30, 40 synonyms, right? And I can see what I can use and what fits into the sentence meaning for me. So dictionary thesaurus, yes. Maintain a journal. Maintain a journal, like I just said, maintain a diary where you can write new words and the meaning and then just try to use these words. If you can still do that, do that. I think that's the best exercise to do. Maintain a journal. If you note down all the new words you encounter, you can refer to the list later, become a part of your active library. Now, in maintain sorry, no. Now, if you can maintain a journal, if you do not have time to look through the meaning right then and there, at least you should have a small diary with you where you can note down the words and later on you can look for the meaning, right? That will also help you. Use new words. The more you use new words in your writing and your conversation, the sooner they will become part of your active library. Vocabulary. I'm calling it library instead of vocabulary. Okay. Now, use new words. Every day you should have this habit of using new words. So once you will use new words every day, once this will become your habit. And second, those words that you've used will become part of your active vocabulary. Vocabulary that you use every day. Vocabulary that you are comfortable using it every day. Then comes study new. Okay, go back to roots. Now, go back to roots. Now, words have their root that we will be studying. Words have their root words. You know, every word is derived from some word. So, when we have such words with us, when we have knowledge of roots, it makes it easy for us to understand the meaning of word. Play games, play word games, practice. Now, again, earlier people used to play crosswords. Now you have so many word games available on the phones, on internet. Play that. That can actually help you to build your vocabulary. Okay. Now do that. Play the puzzles and everything. There was another thing I wanted to say. Engage in conversations. Now, when you of course, you have read the words. Of course, you have learned the meaning of the word. Now you know new words to be used. But if you will not have any conversation with anybody, then how Harshita, Balasudra Lakshmi, I have not reached there yet. I don't think so. I've touched the topic yet. Connotations or qualifications yet. These are vast topics that we'll be taking a one by one. So stop asking me what connotation and what qualifications are. We have not reached there. And Harshita, root words also is a separate topic in this chapter. We will be touching it again. Okay. These topics are the topics that we will be doing in details. Don't worry about it. Now, yes, as an engage in conversations, if you will not talk to anybody, if you will not use and practice those new words with those people, then again, how will you become habitual with the words? Engage in conversation, talk to people, use new words, make journal. The sooner you do this, it's better for you, right? Once you start working, once you have a professional setup, you will not get time to do these things quite often. Yes, you will learn new words every day. Like I said, learning vocabulary is a never-ending process. You will learn new words every day, right? But what you can do right now is make it a point to have a decent knowledge of vocabulary that suits your profession, vocabulary that is part of your subjects. At least you should know that, and vocabulary that we use here. Am I clear? Am I clear? Any problems that you have so far? If no, then I think we will come back again after a 5 minutes break. And then we will start with the main topics of this chapter. If there is any problem, we can just leave it in the comment section. Let me take a 5 minutes break. I will join you at 6. Are we live? Okay. Yeah. So coming back, okay, tell me how many of you the things that we have discussed, the ways to build the vocabulary, how many of you have actually practiced any of thing that we have mentioned here? Is there anyone who already practices something? Are ready to build the vocabulary? Are you into the process of building vocabulary for yourself? I just think you just have to practice, either you write the words or you have to, read and write the words. If you have problems with spelling errors, then you'll have to memorize it. Or if you have good knowledge about phonics, then you make less mistakes. So work over your phonics skills also. Phonic is that you should understand the sound of the word, sound of the letters, so that you know which letters come together to make that particular sound. Like for example, clear. If I'm saying clear, then I know it's k, c, l, clear, air. Air is e, a, and r, r. Right? So you need to understand you need to have good knowledge about the phonic sounds of the letters, and then only you can avoid this mistake. Would, so somebody says, Archana, I'm assuming you're saying that you listen to podcasts, not broadcasts. And Safrira, good that you read books. Abhinav, good you read. Akashni, you maintain journal, very, very good. Mr. Reddy, what did you practice in 8th and 10th? What exactly did you practice? So yes, so many of you do that already. Read and, even if you don't like reading, then at least, watch good English movies, watch, listen to good English music. You can listen to the good podcast. These days you have good audiobooks also available online. So all of these together can actually help you to build the vocabulary. Kushagra, it's a very good exercise if you're already writing short stories, because that's how you learn to use the words, and that is how you learn to, express yourself also without any hesitation, because you're writing for yourself. So, when you're writing for yourself, you can just write and use the words freely. And in that case, you can practice the use of words even better. Right. Mm-hmm. Shambhavi thesaurus is basically where you can get, multiple words. It's like dictionary only, but here we find the similar meanings of the words and the opposite meanings of the words together. Why you all are saying I used to write diary, I used to play games, I used to read news, I used to attempt. Like you don't do these things anymore. If you don't, then why? Like something like I used to read newspaper articles. Why? Why not now? This is not something that you're supposed to not do. Great channel that you listen to PPC pod. So yeah, listen to good people, and that is how you can actually improve your language skills. Clear? Okay. Okay, now let's talk about the types of vocabulary that we're going to study now. We will be taking this each and every topic one by one in details. Sorry, I think I'm not sharing the screen. Okay, so now we will be discussing about these words one by one. Now, first thing is synonyms. Synonyms is basically words that do not have the exact meaning, but they have similar meanings to each other. Like, for example, I told you, like, happy can be called content also, happy can be called joyful also. But happy and content cannot be used interchangeably. If I say, I am happy, yeah, we used to have Mr. Reddy these classes where we were supposed to read newspapers and find out new words and just write it in our journal books. Okay, now synonyms is basically happy and content. Now, these cannot be used interchangeably. I'm saying the content means that you're happy, but at the same time you're satisfied with something. Something has just happened that you're very satisfied. You're feeling very good about it, so you feel happy. But being happy is a novel. It's an emotion, right? So these are two different things. For example, if I say, give me a sentence with happy. If I say the baby is happy, now the baby is happy is a complete sentence. It expresses the meaning completely that the baby is happy. But if I say the baby is content, I cannot say the baby is content because I am not talking about that, baby is very satisfied with something or something like that. No, I am just simply talking about the baby is happy, right? So, but these two words are basically, they have a similarity, but yet they're different. So this is what synonyms are. Foreign words are those words that we pick from the foreign and we just incorporate them in our language as it is without any change. Okay, like bon voyage, it's like saying happy journey, bon appetit, like when you appreciate food. No, you're going to say happy eating. So the words that you pick up as it is. Now connotations. Now connotations is basically that there are certain meanings attached to few words. Okay, that is different from the literal meaning. That is not as same as the literal meanings. Connotations is when the words do not, has a different meaning. They do not have the similar literal meaning. For example, like we say Monday blues. I'm feeling Monday blues. That means I'm very, I'm feeling sad that Monday is there and now we have to go to work. But blue is a color. And at the same time, blue is associated with sadness. So that is connotation. Okay, now connotation is also very important to understand in terms of the comprehension, in terms of the usage, in terms of your expression. So if you do not have, yes, Veda Desha vu, if you do not have the experience of reading it, then you won't be able to do it. Antonyms is the words that they are opposites, but not complete opposites, but yes, somehow they're opposites. Collocations. Collocations is the meaning attached to few words. They're just few unsaid meanings that are attached to few words is called collocations. Then comes the idiom. The idioms are the words, the group of words that they carry certain meaning with each other. There's certain meaning attached to it. The words like it's raining cats and dogs. Now, literally, and that's the meaning is different from literal meaning. Now, if I say it's raining cats and dogs, right? I'm not saying that the cats and dogs are falling from the sky. right? What I'm trying to say here is that it's raining heavily. The rain is too much, right? But that's the way of saying cats and dogs. Phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are the verbs when the two verbs come together, or no, two words come together, which has one verb and it has another set of meaning attached to it. Like break down, give up. Give up is to, just stop doing whatever you're doing. You don't want to even try, right? So these are the words that we will be discussing one by one. Are we clear? Can we continue? Can I start with connotations now? If there is anything that you want me to explain again, just ask me now. Otherwise, we'll start with connotations. Quickly, if there's anything that you want to ask now. Mm-hmm. Oh, nothing. Oh, look at here. You have perfect teeth and you have pearls in your mouth. Now look at these two sentences. What does it mean? Tell me. Guys, whosoever is asking about collocations, we will discuss collocations after this. There's a separate topic altogether. Idioms also we will be doing when we start the topic. You have perfect teeth. Now, this is something that is direct, that has a clear meaning to it. You are basically telling somebody literally that you have perfect teeth, right? So this is basically called, whenever you mean something literally, okay? When you have something, a suggested meaning to certain things, you use some words, but it has another suggested meanings. Then you call it a connotation. Am I clear? Now, there is one example given in your book. I'll just take it from there only. Home or house. Now, home or house are basically, we're talking about a building or, four walls or anything. But house seems like, we're talking about a place which is just made up of bricks and cement. But home has a warmth to it. It actually means that we're talking about, a family. We're talking about people living in here, right? And somebody, so that's emotional, okay? Anything that has an emotional meaning to it becomes connotation. Am I clear? Right? So denotation is basically when you have a literal meaning. Connotations is when you have emotional or suggested meaning attached. Am I clear? Yes. Are we clear? Any problems that we have? Okay. Then now let's start with the examples. Okay. Now look at these words. Now both has a sort of similar meaning to it. Okay. Cheap and inexpensive. If I'm talking something not expensive, I can call it cheap also, I can call it inexpensive also. But cheap is a very negative connotation. And this is positive. Okay, now connotations can have a positive meaning attached to it. It can have a negative meaning attached to it. Now, why we need to know about connotations is that if you do not know what it means, what it is the suggested meaning of the word, you will again not understand the conversation. You will not understand what you're reading. Like for example, if you use the word inexpensive for anything, and you use the word cheap for it, right? The other person who's reading knows that cheap is a very negative word to use for anything. Might take or your thoughts into a negative way, whereas you were trying to, explain something positively. And you instead of using the inexpressive word, you use cheap word. So cheap is a very negative word, and which is why the entire meaning goes wrong. What you're trying to express. And if you do not know the meaning of the correct connotation of any word, then it might lead to misunderstanding of the text. Clear? Am I clear, everyone? Is there any problem to at least understand what denotations and what connotations are? Balasarjana Lakshmi, that's exactly what it means. If I call somebody that you have perfect teeth, okay? By pearls in your mouth, not month. Pearls in the mouth means you have perfect teeth. I am referring your teeth as pearls because pearls are also white and teeth are also white. Have you understood the basic meaning of it? Okay. Now, denotation is the actual meaning of the word without reference to the emotional associations. Connotations have psychological associations, the meanings that evokes something in your mind. Okay. Denotation has actual meaning. Connotations has emotional and psychological association with words that carries it. The connotation of the word goes beyond its strict meaning to express the feelings, thoughts, and images. Now, it goes beyond what you feel. Okay. So in this case also, connotations are of three types. One is positive, words that make people feel good. Negative is that evokes negative feeling. It makes you feel negative. It doesn't make you feel good. It's a negative connotation. Neutral is that something that can be used in both the sense. Am I clear? Yes. Now look at this example. Smell, fragrance, touch. Now in this case, smell is a very neutral word. It can be used in any situation. Fragrance is a good way and smell is a negative way of saying. Like, I can sense some smell here. It's so bad, it's stinking in here. Such a bad smell. But if I'm like, I don't appreciate the flowers or perfume or anything, then I will use the word fragrance. Store, save, hold. Now, my favorite example. You are storing. So everybody started storing food for and prepared during lockdown. Okay, they were storing food, like they were buying extra stuff and they were just keeping for themselves. People saved some grocery for lockdown. Of course, they saved enough for themselves, for their family. They were hoarding the grocery for before the lockdown. Hoarding is a negative word. You basically you are again collecting the things, storing them, but in a negative way so that nobody else can take. Now this is what the hoarding means. Right? Saving is that you are being wise, you're being intelligent, you are saving for the future use. Store is a neutral word, you can use it any way you want. But hoarding is a negative word. That means you are collecting things. You're collecting things and so that you don't want anybody else to take. Clear? Young. Rohan is young. Okay, young is a young boy. I am using it. I'm trying to say that he's not very old, he's not very mature, but he is young. It's okay. Youthful. He's very youthful. So youthful is again very, if somebody's chirpy and somebody's young and very fun to be around, that is youthful. But when I say childish, if I use the word childish, that means I'm going to talk something negative about it. That, the person was not behaving appropriately according to his or her age. That is childish. Okay, so you've understood how there are different meanings to the words. The word's literal meaning might be the same, but suggested means it is. Look at these examples quickly. Go through them once. Go through the list. Have you gone through the list? Yes, of course, aroma is a positive word. Shiva, sketch is a negative word. Timid is a positive word. Cowardly is a negative. Assertive, pushy. Bold, brash. Strong-willed, determined, stubborn. If I say this woman is strong-willed, that means, she's made up her mind and she's pretty positive about it. This will be done. But if I say she's stubborn about it, that means she's made her mind. Everybody's trying to tell her, don't do this, but she's so stubborn about it that, no, I want to do this. She's not willing to change her mind, even if she's forced to. Plump, fat. If I call somebody plump, that means I'm saying it in a good way, that, the person is gained weight and this looks little plumpy. But if I say call somebody fat, that means I'm demeaning somebody. Okay? Energetic, hyperactive. Oh, this child is so energetic in school. That means, the child is full of energy. But when I say hyperactive, that is it's beyond control. The child behaves, the teachers are not able to control him. Okay, now that's the exercise. You basically have to read the sentences and tell me which is the positive connotation and which is the negative connotation. Quickly. You have to go through these and you have to tell me which is a positive connotation and which is a negative connotation. Which sentence has. What would be bizarre is something, that something is very weird and you don't understand what is happening. If the behavior is bizarre, that means you are not able to understand why the person is behaving in this way. It's totally weird that you don't even understand what is happening. Stench is the negative word for smell. Samyak. We are doing connotations. Connotations is suggested meaning or emotional meaning of any word. It is different from literal meaning. All right, quickly look at the sentences. Shall we start discussing the answers? Okay. The sandwich is moist. The sandwich is soggy. So soggy is negative and moist is positive. She's very assertive. She's very pushy. So assertive is positive and pushy is negative. The dress is expensive, but it's definitely worth the price. Expensive is positive. This dress is overpriced is negative. The fragrance of roses has filled the garden. It's positive. Get rid of those eggs. The stench is overwhelming is the negative. The coffee is too bitter. Negative. The coffee is too strong for my liking is positive. How many of you have got all right? How many of you got all right? You can just tell me that, ma'am, I've got all right. And I'm clear with connotations. Have you got all correct? Let me know. And I'm writing few more sentences for you guys here that you're supposed to do it now. I got 8 right, the first, second wrong. Okay. That's fine even if you got a few wrong. Mm. I'm going to give you a few words. I'm going to write your positive and negative words. Okay. I will give you like four words each. You have to make me the sentences out of those words. Okay. This is positive and neutral word is this. I'm writing for your understanding. You have to make a sentence in positive connotation and negative connotation. Oh, the first is adventurous, courageous, foolhardy. Second is assertive, confident, bossy, inexpensive, thrifty, and cheap. Now you have to give me the sentences. Okay, quick, you have to make the sentences now. I will not start with any other topic. We will just practice in the meanwhile. Let's see how many of you make good sentences. It's foolhardy, Balasajan. Foolhardy. Foolhardy is somebody who doesn't, measure. In the name of adventure, they make mistakes. They don't weigh down the pros and cons. I'm reading your sentences. I'm going to only read out the best ones. Mm-hmm. Assertive also means that you're very self-confident, very bold in making decisions. You're confident, like you can take your own decisions. Foolhardy is somebody who's, inconscious. Somebody doesn't measure if it's going to be serious or risky or not. Somebody who's careless about their actions in the name of being adventurous. They just want to be sounded as bold, but they are very careless, thoughtless. Okay, Sanjana, got it. I like your name though. Kojima, be experimental. Don't do this. The new employee looks so confident. The new employee is so assertive. The new employee's nature is so bossy. No. Your sentences should be able to tell me that you're talking in a positive sense, negative sense, or neutral sense. Good judgment. It's a very good. It's a very good attempt. Has everyone made the sentences? No. Not very happy with the response. The girl. Nowadays youthful. No, Vati. What you are trying to say is nowadays youth is very focused on their study, but I am talking about youthful here, not youth. Ashita, that's a very harsh statement to make. Okay. Now, if I say courageous, of course, so many of you have spoken about soldiers and freedom fighters. Yes, they are courageous. Let's talk in a very simple way. The boy was courageous as he fought with the lion alone, foolhardy. Rohan's foolhardy decision put his life at risk. Okay, confident. Uh, my sister is confident about clearing her exams with amazing scores or with good score. My cousin is so bossy that she doesn't listen to anybody. My cousin is so bossy that she doesn't share, she doesn't take anybody's advice. Our classmate is a bossy person. Okay. The monitor of the class is bossy because she bosses around everyone. Thrifty and cheap. Person who is very careful with the money. Now, thrifty is, so there are two different things. Asham Bhabi, the sentence that you made, she opened gifts with childish delight. I would suggest you say she opened gifts with youthful delight. It's a positive sentence. Okay. My mother taught me to be thrifty. Okay, thrifty is somebody who's very careful with the money. So my mother taught me to be thrifty, or my mother is very thrifty when it comes to her shopping because she's very careful about what she does. Not cheap. What do you make it for cheap? Mm. Maybe I've seen that. With your why are you saying thank you? Mm. Servations is so nice. At the age of 60, he still looks full man. Very. Rima has managed to maintain her youthful appearance. Very good. Or you can say Rima still looks youthful. One, it is this chapter is easy, but you have to practice a lot. I can only teach you the concepts. I cannot teach you the words. So you will have to practice on your own to develop your own vocabulary. Okay. All right. So I hope. Okay. Now I hope this exercise was helpful to you and you've got a fair idea of what we were doing here. And having said, I would like to just sum up this entire chapter that we can teach you the concepts. Okay, I'm going to teach you the concepts, what all type of vocabulary you should know. Now, how these connotations can help you. Like, for example, somebody says, mm, you are basically sitting with a group of people and you're discussing something, and the word is she says that I try to, tell my boss, try to give my boss some suggestions, but my boss is very headstrong, he doesn't listen to us. That means the boss is not ready to take these suggestions from us. He's not ready to take the inputs from us, right? And this is why, he doesn't listen to us. It's a negative word. Now, headstrong doesn't mean that you're very positive, you're very firm on a decision, nothing. But in case you do not know the meaning of the word headstrong, don't take it in the wrong sense. The entire meaning of the sentence, what you will understand is wrong. Which is why the emotional, the suggested meaning is very important to understand to have a good conversation, right? Now, in terms of splendid and scrawny. I would like to say that somebody is very extremely thin and doesn't look good. Then I use the word scrawny for that person. But I want to say somebody's thin and still looks really nice. I use the word slender. Now, if I am very thin and somebody's using the word scrawny for me, what I know is that this means something thin, but I don't know it's a negative meaning, what it means. Then I will not take it as a compliment. It's not a compliment for me. Somebody's commenting bad on me. Which is why, again, knowledge of vocabulary and knowledge of, connotations is important. Understand what the other person is saying. Am I clear? Any problems that you have? Harshita, everything is available online. I always suggest this, that, you can find out the list of connotations that you should know, the frequently used connotation words that you need to know. Look for it. And to build your vocabulary, always look for new words, look up the meaning and try to use them, right? So you can find easily the list of connotations online. You can find easily exercises to practice connotations online. Do that. I think that is going to actually help you guys to improve your vocabulary, and it will also teach you not just the vocabulary, improve your vocabulary, but it will also teach you how to use the words in specific sentences on specific references. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's session and everything was clear to you. Now I will see you on Thursday and we will be continuing with this chapter. So if there is no problem, then we can call it a day. We can say bye-bye. I'll wait for another minute. If there is no query that comes, then we'll stop the class. We'll end the class. Yes. Compliment is positive, comment is negative. Thank you. Just breathe. All right, guys. Sure. Bye. Enjoy the evening. We'll see you on. I'll see you on Thursday now. Bye-bye. Bye, sir.